Burkina Faso has been buzzing on social media ever since Captain Ibrahim Traoré seized control of the country. Traoré, who led a coup on September 30, 2022, quickly became the youngest president in the world. His leadership has brought significant changes to Burkina Faso. The leaders behind Burkina Faso's two coups in 2022 pointed to insecurity and misgovernance as their reasons for taking power. They pledged to restore constitutional order by June 2024, following the agreement set by the Economic Community of West African States. Don't miss out on our latest content. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell icon to stay informed about the ever-evolving narratives shaping Africa today. When Traoré took office, a new roadmap was outlined on October 14, 2022, with 4 key goals for his administration. Traoré, like any new president, had his own set of responsibilities. The primary objective was to combat terrorism and regain control of the country's territory. To achieve this, the government revamped the defense and security forces, obtained new military equipment, and enlisted around 10,000 army and navy personnel. Additionally, Traoré enlisted approximately 90,000 volunteers to bolster homeland defense efforts. While this decision received mixed reactions from both the military and the public due to concerns about training, supervision, and long-term implications, the government pressed on with its plans. Furthermore, the creation of the Patriotic Support Fund aimed to encourage citizen involvement in security initiatives. Traoré also promised to tackle Burkina Faso's humanitarian crisis, which affects nearly 2 million internally displaced people and over 36,000 refugees. The country needs $877 million US for essential aid, shelter, healthcare, and support. Despite efforts, the funding gap remains, posing serious consequences for those in need. In addition, Traoré's government passed new laws to fight corruption in the public sector, targeting practices like clientelism and political patronage. This led to the arrest of former Transport Minister Vincent Darbou and 4 others for embezzlement and money laundering, with each receiving an 11-year prison sentence. Traoré also pledged to oversee elections for constitutional and democratic rule by July 2024. However, there's a lack of urgency, with only about 3 months left until the transition period ends. In a TV interview last September, Traoré emphasized that addressing insecurity and protecting the nation are his priorities over elections. He stated clearly that security comes first, not elections. In a country torn by jihadist violence, concerns arise among political parties about possible delays in elections due to the lack of technical preparations. The ongoing war and civil conflict between the government of Burkina Faso and Islamic rebels, which began in August 2015, has displaced over 2 million people and caused the deaths of at least 10,000 civilians and combatants. During Blaise Compaoré's presidency from 1987 to 2014, he handled Islamists differently than French colonial officials. Compaoré's advisor Mustapha Ould Laman Chafi and General Gilbert Didier sought to negotiate with Islamist leaders to release hostages held by these groups. Burkina Faso acted as a mediator during the Mali War and led an intervention in 2013. However, Compaoré's overthrow in November 2014 marked the start of instability in the region. Ibrahim Traoré prioritizes security and is dedicated to combating terrorism and insecurity in Burkina Faso. He advocates for enhanced regional cooperation and intelligence capabilities to achieve this. Since taking office, Traoré has been proactive in advancing his nation and relieving it from external pressures. He envisions a prosperous, stable, and united Burkina Faso where every citizen can fulfill their potential. Traoré is dedicated to boosting Burkina Faso's economic growth through investments in key sectors like agriculture, industry, infrastructure, and education. He emphasizes transparency, accountability, and good governance to combat corruption and strengthen democratic institutions. Traoré also prioritizes national unity, aiming to unite diverse ethnicities, religious groups, and regions through dialogue and mutual respect. Despite commitment to fighting terrorism, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have withdrawn from ECOWAS, raising doubts about meeting transition deadlines. Traoré clarified Burkina Faso's irreversible withdrawal and joined the newly formed Alliance of Sahel States, criticizing ECOWAS' lack of assistance against jihadists. ECOWAS faces challenges in reversing frequent coups despite its formation in 1975 to promote economic integration. Citizens feel they haven't benefited from the region's natural resources. Military coups unfolded in Mali in 2020 and 2021, Burkina Faso in 2022, and Niger in 2023, prompting ECOWAS to suspend all three countries and impose severe sanctions on Niger and Mali. Despite Niger's efforts to reconcile with ECOWAS, only Togo's participation was observed, revealing mistrust within the organization. Leaders in these nations pledged to combat armed groups by forming the Alliance of Sahel States and cutting military ties with France, their former colonizer. France withdrew its troops from these regions post-coups. Insecurity in West Africa surged, with over 1,800 attacks in the first half of 2023, resulting in nearly 4,600 deaths and grave humanitarian crises. Since 2005, the ECOWAS Community Court of Justice has adjudicated human rights cases. Its landmark judgments, such as holding Mali accountable for condoning slavery in 2008, ensure accountability. Exiting the ECOWAS treaty deprives citizens of this avenue for justice, particularly in regions where accessing national courts is challenging. Despite these developments, the three nations remain steadfast in their decision not to rejoin the bloc. ECOWAS comprises 15 member states in the West African region with deep cultural, geopolitical, and economic ties. Most of these nations use the West African CFA franc, but Niger and Burkina Faso have opted to abandon it for their own currency. Launching and sustaining a multilateral currency requires careful consideration of several factors. Close coordination of macroeconomic and budgetary policies is crucial to ensure currency stability and prevent trade imbalances. Strong institutions like a common central bank are necessary to manage the currency effectively. Establishing an integrated common market and mechanisms to monitor and resolve crises are also vital. While it's uncertain if these conditions have been fully met in the three countries, their long-standing membership in the West African Economic and Monetary Union provides some experience in coordinating economic policies. Despite risks, introducing a new currency could lead to benefits such as enhanced trade integration, flexibility in dealing with external partners, and reduced transaction costs. The bold move of withdrawing from ECOWAS and introducing a new currency signals a decisive break from the West for Burkina Faso and other African nations. It's a significant step that likely won't be reversed. Stay tuned for updates on these unfolding events.